What is up, Gato Squad? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Elias, and if you are new here, consider subscribing. Well, today I wanted to talk about the BMW. I know I don't do it often, but I definitely want to take the chance to talk about it because I've been driving it a lot more. And here are 5 reasons why I think the 335D, this 335D, is the best highway cruiser car in America. Alright guys, so since we're in the car right now, I wanted to first take a chance to tell you what this car is. This is a 2011 335D by BMW. It's one of my favorite cars. It's, you know, I love to drive this car on the highway, and even on the back roads, it's pretty fun. And if you didn't know, if you didn't watch my previous videos, from the factory it comes with 415 foot-pounds of torque and 275 horsepower, which in itself is a lot. But what I've done is I've tuned it and I've modified a few things. So it's now making 600 foot-pounds of torque and 400 horsepower. That's a lot of power and torque, and this is all stock internal, stock turbo, stock everything else. Let's go through the 5 reasons why I think this car makes for one of the best, if not the best, highway cruising cars in America. So the first reason why I think it makes one of the best highway cruising cars in America is because the miles to the gallon. So you wouldn't think that this car would give you that great gas mileage because, you know, it's pushing out so much power. How can a car be pushing out so much power and get you such great gas mileage? Well, it's because this is a diesel car. And right now I'm going 80 miles an hour, and the engine is turning barely at 2,000 RPMs. So if you think about it, in a gasoline engine, if your engine was turning that low, you would not have any power at all. I don't care how many turbos or whatever you'd have, you really wouldn't feel like you had power. This car at 2,000 RPMs is making peak torque. So it's making its full 600 foot-pounds of torque at that RPM range, and if I punch the go pedal, it'll go. So what does that? How does that translate to better miles to the gallon? Well, it means that I can kind of feather the throttle a little bit, just a tiny bit, going uphill. And you know, I have an RPM gauge here. You know, I'm going uphill right now, going 75 miles an hour, and the miles per gallon gauge is telling me I'm getting 35 miles to the gallon uphill at 75 miles an hour. That's how you know this car is so efficient. And part of the reason is the way diesel fuel works. If you don't know how a diesel engine works, it's instead of using a spark plug, it uses something called glow plugs to first get it going. After it gets going, it doesn't even need the glow plugs anymore. It uses compression to power the engine. So actually, the thing that ignites when the engine goes bang is the injectors injecting diesel fuel into the cylinder. This makes for a very, very efficient, lean burn, and you can get a lot of power out of a diesel, gallon of diesel. The other thing is that diesel itself is more power dense than gasoline. It is a thicker kind of fluid. It is not much thicker, but you know, it is a thicker fluid, and it actually is more power dense than gasoline. So for the same gallon of gasoline versus the same gallon of diesel, you're going to get more power out of that diesel than the gasoline. So once you understand those two things, you'll understand that why this car makes such good miles per gallon range. So why does miles per gallon really matter when you're talking about highway cruising? Well, I don't know about you, but I like to get on with it and get on the road and just not stop until I get as far as possible. And the better miles per gallon you get, the better range you get with your tank. So this is a 16-gallon tank, and with the 16-gallon tank, I can get between 600 and 700 miles on a tank. That's mind-blowing. So in my Type R, I have a Honda Civic Type R. I barely get 300 miles out of that thing before I have to visit a gas station, and that's if I'm driving slowly. This thing, I'm driving 80, you know, 85, keeping up with traffic, and you know, 500, 600, 700 miles before I have to fill up next. That's amazing. So I can just go, make up time, and just, you know, stay on the road as long as I want and not have to worry about it. So that's number 1, miles per gallon. Number 2 reason why I think this is one of the best cars to drive on the highway in America is the seat comfort. So these seats are an incredible seats. They're really, really comfortable. They're really nice leather seats. They are they have all the support, all the bolstering that you want. But the main thing that it has that I like a lot is it has like a balloon inside of it that it uses to give you lumbar support. It gives you so much lumbar support that you know, I actually miss it when I go to the Honda Civic or any other car, because now that I have all this lumbar support, I guess I'm kind of spoiled by it. So I can sit on the seat and drive for 11, 12 hours, no big deal for me at all. And I've done so a few times already, and I get home and I'm not worn out. I can keep going. So that's how you know these seats are incredible in this car. Number 3 reason is the interior. So, the interior in the 335 and all the 3 Series really have not really been the favorites of auto manufacturers and auto journalists. So what I mean is they get into it and they're like, it's kind of cramped, it's kind of, it may not be that comfortable, blah, blah, blah. Well, what I think is when you're driving on the highway, I don't know about you, but I like to be focused on what I'm doing, and I like to stay focused on what I'm doing. So the seat's comfortable, but having a really good interior means it has really good sound deadening, so I'm not worn out by all the sound. And I feel like I'm kind of in a cockpit here where, I am the commander of this car, and I can drive for a very, very long time without kind of getting wore out by any vague steering, or, if I have to reach for the controls, am I reaching, am I looking down? It's the controls and the interior are there basically for the driver's comfort, for the driver's attention. So I think that's reason number 3 why this makes for one of the best driver's car on the highway. Reason number 4 is the handling. So we all know, on the highway you don't really need that good of a handling, right? Well, I think that's the wrong way to think of it. I think the better handling car you have, the better chance you have at not only avoiding any possible potholes or any possible road debris, but you can also avoid possible traffic accidents. And I don't know how many times you guys have been stuck in a terrible situation where you're driving along, all of a sudden all the cars in front of you panic stop, and you're panic stopping too, but you got a nice big truck behind you that's gonna hit you, and you're like, ooh, what am I gonna do? If your car doesn't handle that well, let's say you're in a big pickup truck and you try to swerve around the issue, you're gonna be in big trouble, because you're either gonna roll over, you're not gonna be able to brake hard enough. But in this car, I've been in panic situations where I'm braking, and I have so much leftover performance that I can look around me, I can see the car behind me not braking hard enough, or the car in front of me is braking too hard, or it's gonna crash. Should I move over? Should I not move over? So the handling in this car is amazing. The other thing is, we all know that when we get to the destination, while we're getting to the destination, after we get off the highway, if you have a very pillowy and very comfortable car on that highway, once you get off and you get on those back roads, you're kind of stuck with a not so fun ride. You're kind of bouncing around a lot. But this car is at home on the highway and at home on the back road. So having that kind of combination of good handling for the highway and great handling for the back roads makes this car great for long road trips. Alright, so now we get to the final reason number 5. My favorite reason why this car makes for one of the best, if not the best, driver's car for the highway and highway cruising is the immense amount of torque and power this car produces. So let me put it this way. So let's say you're going up a hill and you're on a 2-lane road, so it's very difficult to pass, and you're behind a truck. Well, if you have an economy car or something like that, you'd probably be behind that truck, that slow-moving truck, the entire way there. And that to me, that gets pretty frustrating, and you're kind of struggling behind the truck, and you really don't want to be behind slow-moving vehicles that long. In this car, you have so much power behind that pedal that all you do is you touch it and it just goes. So as long as you have a little bit of room to pass, you kind of go. You can pass any car you want, whenever you want, any truck you want, whenever you want. No issues at all. And if you need to make up some time, you can bury the foot a little bit further into the pedal, and you get a lot faster. And even when you do that, as long as you're on the highway, you really don't suffer with the miles to gallon. So your range won't suffer if you're going faster than you're really supposed to be doing. And so I mean, power on the highway and power for a road trip car is so important. Not only just for passing, not only just to get around cars and get around vehicles, but also to have some fun. So I don't know about you guys, but sometimes long highway trips can get a little bit boring, and sometimes you want to have a little bit of fun. And what's more fun than pinning your passenger to the back of his or her seat while they're sleeping, and have them wake up and you're like, oh, what's going on? I've had a lot of fun with that, and then just being able to, you know, kind of just go at it and have a little bit of fun on an empty road or an empty highway every once in a while. That can be pretty important in order to kind of keep your mind awake and alert. Alright guys, so that pretty much wraps it up here. So let me know what you guys think about what I said about this car. It is my favorite car to drive on the highway, better than the Type R, better than the S2000 of course. Those are more kind of back roads and track day oriented cars. This is the car to have to drive on a long highway trip, and even when you get there you get a little bit of back roads. This is a great car in the back roads as well. Alright guys, so thanks for watching. As always, if you haven't yet subscribed, please do so, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.
Until the second call, it's gonna make a change. You have to let me know. Turn the shit around, just start the top of yours. It's all you need.